the screens all night, reading headlines filled with fright. If you're clicking too fast or you're rolling some dice, you might be up to something not nice. Got your comics, your anime, better hide them all right away. If you're gaming too much or you painting in blue, they think there's something wrong with you. They're watching reports. No, no, no. They're watching your ports. No, no, no. They say your hobbies ain't safe. Somebody get them a break. USAID, they're coming after your fun. USAID, they see a dice and they run. They hear a joystick and call for the feds, crying about danger inside of your heads. USAID, they're losing all of their minds.
Yeah, the song's not as catchy as the YMCA song, but if you give it time, I'm pretty sure it'll come around. Mike Benz here. He has something to say. This is at Mike Benz Cyber from a year ago. That's right, March of 2024. Elon even replied to this. Look, it's right here. Elon even replied to this, and it didn't go viral. Somehow, this manages to zoop right underneath the radar completely. So here's good old Mike Benz, soldier of the year here, stepping forward and saying, here is USA deliberately targeting gaming sites for censorship to stop ordinary citizens from forming interpretations of the world that differ from mainstream sources. Naughty, naughty. See, they found a way to do that Ministry of Truth thing. Remember when they were like, we got to combat misinformation? They found a way. As usual, the government's conniving and not straightforward and shady AF, if you will. But here we are. So we have the full document, but let's read the rest of what Mike has to say here. He says, this is the U.S. government using your tax dollars, plotting to stop people from disagreeing with the media. Consider for a minute this. They're talking about like MSNBC, Salon, all of their like institutions that they protect. One thing I do want to note is that it did go around that USAID was funding the political website. That's not the case. They had a subscription with them, but it wasn't to the tune of millions of dollars, or at least they had a few subscriptions anyway. So if they were funding them, it was in probably the most indirect way possible you could do with the title of the company. So I don't know why USAID had subscriptions, but under the law, under the word of the law, USAID was not writing grants for Politico. They were not like giving them money under a direct sense. So I just want to clarify that. If you believe that they were funding them through the subscription model, I don't know. I mean, it's possible. I could put up a membership model right here, a membership tier on this channel that's for like $20 billion, right? And some guy, totally real person can go out there and buy that, and all of a sudden, well, this private citizen, well, he works for the USAID, but this private citizen, he donated all this money. Wow, member of the century. Woo. If you want a $20 billion membership tier on this channel, it's not going to happen. But, you let me know down in the comments, because I think that would make a fun little montage. But, just let me know if you want a $20 billion tier. I have no idea what I'd offer you. Probably like a ride to space at this point. We just send that off to Elon and be like, hey, man, you got one open seat? We got a guy. But that's what it is right here. So let's check out the document, all right? So we skipped all the way over to the gaming sites parts because news outlets did register this was real because it came out due to a lawsuit. So the situation that kind of unfolded through this is that they found out that there was a disinformation combat campaign. However, a lot of them kind of glazed over the fact that gaming sites were part of this, or at least they did not make that the center piece to what they were reporting was, and just sort of like, yeah, this was happening too. Here, we're here to focus on it and kind of dissect just what kind of evil that is, all right? Now, I get it that these government officials are all very afraid that we have our own ideas of the world because, God forbid that the sky isn't blue to every guy out there, that it might be azure to some fella. You know who I'm talking about. If it's you, hit like and subscribe. You know who you are. Mr. Azure Sky. Yeah, you know who you are. Anyway, let's get into this. Understanding all alternative media spaces. If they could sound like they were boomers anymore, I have no idea, right? Like understanding alternative media spaces. Hey, Jimmy, how do I set the VCR? It's just whatever. Discussion on disinformation and misinformation often revolve around assumptions of state actors driving the issue. However, problematic, there's that word, that special word, problematic. You know immediately how this is going to go. You can tell how the rest of this whole thing is going to go now, can't you? Mm-hmm. Yes, you can. So it says, however, problematic information more regularly originates from from networks of alternative sites and anonymous individuals. Ooh, people with verified accounts. Did you catch that? That's going to pop up on the screen right now. You can take a look at that. That's right. That's the anonymous account that put out that video that was like, Trump's going to take over the world. He's going to make y'all slaves of the corporations. You're going to live in pods and eat bugs and not own anything and love. Wait a minute. Yeah, those guys, verified account. I hope it's John Brennan's ID card. I really do. I hope it's John Brennan's ID card that verifies that. Or it's just Hunter Biden like giving deuces. That's what the verification ID picture is. It's just Hunter giving deuces, Like the anonymous account, like the guy in the Guy Fawkes mask going on and on about how evil Trump is. Yeah, that guy verified. Okay, fellas, anonymous, you bet. Of all the accounts, right? Of all the accounts. So now that's off the screen. Let's get back into the paragraph. These alternative spaces include message boards. Wow. Digital distribution platforms. This is Reddit, 4chan. Ooh, 4chan. Those people in their anime pictures, posting pictures of dead dogs. Ooh. Yeah. They're freaks. What are you going to do? It's 4chan. It's like, what do you expect? You go into a dive bar? Do you expect to find, like, I don't know, a Sunday afternoon church session? Probably not. You're going to find people who go to a dive bar. And those people, they belong at a dive bar. You know what I mean? Usually, right? Anyway, in Discord, because, it's just the nexus of all evil, right? Discord's just the nexus of all evil. Conspiracy news sites, of course. This is RT, Russia Today, of course. Conspiracy news site, Russia Today. This is also the 21st Century Wire. And, of course, the wicked, the evil, the terrible, the twisted, the wrong gaming sites. That's right. If you're out there tickety-tacking opinions about video games, well, Mr. The U.S. government's got a problem with you. Particularly the USAID department wants to know how to combat you, and they're willing to pay buku bucks to figure out how to do it. So here we are. And gaming sites. According to Elliot Higgins, founder of Bellingcat, the alternative media ecosystem has become a prominent driver for disinformation. Ooh, disinformation. It's going to get you. It's going to tickle your balls. Oh, no. Yet, not many organizations, journalists, or researchers are engaged in this topic. What do you know? Journalists don't want to come out and be like, yeah, you guys are absolutely right that we're not telling the truth. What the hell? What do you want them to do? Do you want them to admit it? Because it's not going to happen because they're not doing that. I don't know if you've caught on yet, but they're talking about sites like Bounding. That's what they're talking about. They're talking these right-of-center gaming sites that are covering stuff that they don't want covered. They don't want people talking about the rapid infestation of DEI initiatives that have taken over in the last, 9 years, most of the gaming, probably 10 years now, most of the gaming industry. In fact, all of it, really, when you look at how much they're abusing the H-1B system, it seems to be all of them are doing this. We look at the constant failures of Sony. They don't want you to notice that because then you start noticing patterns. And there's one thing the U.S. government absolutely hates. It's when the citizens start noticing patterns. Darn it, pattern recognition, curse this human brain. This present failure to address alternative media systems threatens and undermines other efforts to counter disinformation. While information on alternative systems such as conspiracy theories may seem farcical or preposterous and to an outsider, to users, These spaces enable them to collaborate and validate their own claims and interpretations of the world that differ from mainstream sources. The grand fact checkers of the world that decide if the sky is blue or azure. You see, you could be wrong. Sky could be black watch plaid. Could be. You never know. With this, individuals contribute their own research to the larger discussion, collectively reviewing and validating each other to create a populist expertise that justifies, shapes, and supports their alternative beliefs. So let me ask you, what was this whole lived experience thing in My Truth then? What was that? What was that about? Huh? What were we doing there? Are we just throwing that out now? Is that gone? We got to obey the science, the narrative, the word. Is that what we're doing now? The state has said the word is this. The state has said bird is the word. This is what we're looking at now, is that they're upset that we are going forward and we are understanding the issue at our own level. So you go out, you play this game, you come back and you say, ta-da, wouldn't you know, Hans is not the same character in the codex from the first game. That's not even a character in the codex. Surprise, in the Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 game, that's just an historical entry about that person. And then in the next game, well, it's a different guy. It's meant to be a different character. Characters in the video game don't obey history exactly because Dan Vavra decided not to do that anymore after he made an incredibly big deal about that, right? And we all saw that. That's pattern recognition. That damned pattern recognition gets him every time. Would have got away with it too if it weren't for you kids and your damned pattern recognition. That's what happens, is that Dan Vavra has been incredibly inconsistent on all of this, and boom, this whole discourse around the game has exploded into something that just really reflects the fact that the guy can't be direct. He can't come out and say anything he truly believes, because that would mean cutting down $1 or $2 from the bottom line. Now he's got himself a bunch of people running around accusing him of doing naughty things with kids in the game. Not Dan Vavra directly, but now he's inviting people to be suspicious of this. He's gone out and clarified there are no kids in the game, but it's one of those things where you've got this codex that says one thing and the public doesn't give a damn, right? The public doesn't give a damn. Now, what the USAID program here wants to do is, that's the reason why I go down that side road, is to bring it back to this now. Is what this USAID study program wants to do is to poo-poo people who noticed all of that. They want to look at you and say, your problem with Dan Vavra is not part of the official mainstream narrative around Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. You are wrong and thus should be quiet. See? You can be on this and say, the game is fun to play. I did not engage with the homosexual track in the game, and I had a great time doing a whole lots of stuff that people wouldn't consider Christian. Okay? I get it. The Mally Man didn't bother you, doesn't bother me. But to people who were very, very invested in what Dan Vavra professed to be doing during the Warhorse, when it was solo, before Embracer bought it, that mattered. Again, USA doesn't want you to notice this pattern. They don't want you to talk about it on top of that. That's what this whole problem is, guys, is that we're out here talking about things. We can't be talking about things, because when we talk about things, we form, what is this, populist expertise. And, if more than 5 guys agree that the sky is blue, that might be a problem. There's no official source on that, you see. They're just guys. They're not doctors. They're not sky doctors. Do you know a sky doctor? Are you a sky doctor? Are you sure you're a sky doctor? I got to see your sky doctor certification before I'll believe you that the sky is blue. That's the argument that they're making. You're not able to do your own research because you're not qualified to understand what you're looking at, even though it's written in the language that you speak. It's amazing how they managed to convince so many people that, like, oh no, this is too complicated for your little pea brain. You're not qualified to make these decisions. You can pay your taxes though, mister. You need to pay your taxes because we've got to fund sex changes over in Ireland. They're not too good at that. Yeah. We got to fund that. You like this? You like these fingers? You like this? I got that from like the Ned Flanders thing when he would like creep up on a cake or something. I forget what he was doing, but it looks so funny to me to see Ned Flanders like doing the gravity hands, So Let me know. Anyway, gravity hands. I'm in a mood today. I'm sorry. I'm really happy that this is all coming to light. I'm really happy that we're all playing and able to see out in the light now how nuts this has been and that we're not all crazy. It's been the government funding all of this nutcase stuff, making us feel crazy. For years, I've wondered why so many places around the world are going along with this. Now I know why the BBC is just turning a blind eye to all the crazy thing that's happening in their industry. Now we know they're not allowed to talk about it because it will make them into an alternative media space. I tripped over that because I'm not a boomer. It'll turn them into an alternative media space where they're trafficking in conspiracy theories, gravity hands, woo, gravity. See what I mean? They're gonna grab your freedoms just like that. Yeah. You click on that bounding link, it's over with. You've surrendered your soul to the bounding man, right? I don't want it. You could keep it. I got enough. Anyway, mainstream institutions may not pick up on the issue, but because they do not understand the platform or alternative media systems more generally, they may unknowingly provide wide coverage of misleading information. And by golly, that's just the baddest of the bads. Because what's a retraction, guys? That doesn't exist. Once you print something, that's forever. That goes out there, and that's just going to be the truth now. Ask NBC how that went for the Nick Sandman thing when they labeled him everything under the sun after that other fellow was beating the drum in his face and all he did was smile. Remember that? Do you remember when they smeared that kid, called him everything underneath the sun and then some? Do you remember that? That was an official mainstream media source that did that, and they spread that all over the place. Golly gosh darn. Would that make them an alternative media source? Nope. It didn't. Because they're not here. They're not talking about that. They're talking about us over here circulating the stories about how Vavra's on one side of this issue, then on the other side of the issue. And that's what we're looking at, is that, like, I drag Kingdom Come Deliverance into this because it's really the perfect analogy for this. Because you've got people that are on both sides of this. They're very fierce about how they feel about it. You got Dan Vavra that's just stoking the fires in the middle of it. Everybody's coming up with theories about why this happened. Dan comes out and knocks down a few of them and lets the rest of them continue to burn. Either way, he just doesn't know about them. One or the other, that whole thing has gotten out of control from Warhorse's perspective. Now here on the ground, people are running around circulating stories about the game being about underage sex. And it's like, that's where you're at, right? That's where you've come to, is that this USAID pressure thing wants to fight misinformation, but it lacks the knowledge that forming a pattern is how most stories are told, be they fictional or non-fictional, okay? When we're reporting on the news, we are connecting patterns of events, okay? Because it rained today, there's water on the road. So the weatherman reports that you should probably wear your rain boots, right? Shouldn't go out there in your flip-flops unless you want wet feet, right? That's connecting a pattern that when it rains, things get wet. It's not that hard. When Vavra goes around, stirs a bunch of shit, then walks away like, I don't know, you guys are crazy. I'm off to Hollywood. I got nothing to do with you crazy people. Where did you come from? You know, he goes around, does all that. Then this firestorm starts where people just start trying to explain what the hell they're looking at in the game because it's not clear enough. I understand why people see the codex and establish that narrative that that's the same guy and that he's 15 years old in the game. I get it. Where else are they supposed to get that information? Are they supposed to play the game and take a 50-50 shot at that? You know? And that's what I have to, like, reiterate in all of this, is that it has been a curious ride through this whole USAID misinformation campaign with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 right here parallel with it. Right here parallel with it. Kind of encapsulating what this mission was meant to, like, deal with, but it completely failed to do it because you can't control that. People establish patterns. You're going to do that. You're going to notice things. And what do you do when in the news? You explain what you noticed. How about that? That's news. So there you go. You can't control it. It's the same thing with what happened with Gaiman. Gaiman. I guess people like Gaiman better. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see in court. But Neil Gaiman with his situation, same thing with going on with Blake Lively and her issue with Justin Baldoni. It's the same thing we had with Concord. Nobody knew what the hell was going on in Concord, guys. So we had to figure it out by piecing together posts online, piecing together the devs attacking random people on the internet for their opinions about the character designs. All this jazz in order to finally piece together just what the hell was going on in there. And come to find out, it was just a hive of toxic positivity. That's the term. And that's what they want in media. They want toxic positivity, wall to wall, stuffed down your throat and mine, rather than noticing a pattern and saying, hey, this Vavra guy's lighting a lot of fires that are unnecessary. He really could get ahead of this and not have this problem. Who's exactly behind all of this? Right? Sure, it creates controversy around the game, which gets it name traveling around. People take a look at it, maybe buy it. Great. On the other hand, we end up with these wild stories that, I don't know, man. You're gonna get people circulating this stuff are running a really thin line. There's no way around libeling a dude when you start saying that he willingly put child abuse material in his game. Like that's libel. There's no way around that, because I really strongly doubt that Embracer Group was like, yeah, that's cool. We're just gonna do that. The legal team was like, oh, I see no problem. Again, they implied it in the Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League game, right? They implied it between Harley and Ivy. I get it. But like a full-on scene, I think that that's material that they're going to have to explain, and then ta-da, we get into a bigger argument, which the marketing team doesn't want to deal with. It's a corporate structure. It's not one guy sitting in a closet, right? That's what Vavra doesn't want to sit and tell you. And that's why all this misinformation gets moved around, right? And it's not misinformation, right? This misinformation, what it is it's pattern recognition. People recognize what's happening. We recognize that people aren't being direct about this, so we have to understand that there's something more to it. Whereas the Ministry of Truth here, as sponsored by the USAID program, well, they want to make sure that you're not allowed to make your own opinions. You can't do your own research. You can't find an alternative media space that says, hey, man, we noticed that too. And that's where we're at today. And we'll just take a quick run over here, take a look at this. So we got USAID funded video games to highlight gender issues. And here it is right here. USAID, right here from the website, USAID promotes gender equality and improved health through Half the Sky Movement mobile games. All right, so Half the Sky Movement is, I believe it's a company or some type of group. And as you can see right here, there's Family Choices, 9 Minutes, and Worm Attack. And, it talks about various different parts here. You could pause the video and read this and stuff like that. Because, again, this is over with now. This is way back in 2012 when this was announced. So this is a while ago. But I wanted to bring up, this isn't new. This isn't something that just sprung up under Biden. All right. This has been going on at least since President Obama. It could have been before him even, which I don't doubt. But here's another catchy one. Disney's in a whole lot of hot water right now, but here's another situation they find themselves in. $27 million, or at least some of it, went toward fishing trips at Disney, or Disney provided, hosted fishing trips, because here, get this, okay? Get this. The purpose of this is participating in sports fishing and boating generates funds for conservation and is good for the economy. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. It's just like, well, hey, man, we'll take some guys out fishing and they'll probably donate to somebody's fund to save the Allagash, probably. Excuse me, the Everglades. The Allagash is up here where I live, up here in Maine. The Florida Everglades. You remember that? The Florida Everglades. Yeah. Blow, Seminole wind, blow. But I'm kind of... I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the moment. It's over with, right? We're hacking it down to pieces. This stuff isn't going to happen anymore, at least not for the next 4 years. So I salute you, Mr. Mike Benz, for bringing this information to us a long time ago. And for whatever reason, the SEO and algorithm demons, they're not gods, that's for sure. The demons decided not to deliver that to us. So here we are today, finally catching up with Mike Benz, the man who called it first, the Paul Revere of USAID is stealing your fun. All right, so if you see him out there in the wild, please let Mr. Mike Benz know that we salute him. And we say thank you for bringing this information to light. And as always, guys, good luck out there.